Good evening, all you wisdom walkers out there. It's so wonderful to be here with you again this Sunday evening. And I decided at the request from a dear friend that I would do the live YouTube again this week. Although as Carmen Ray will tell me, I'm such a perfectionist. I didn't like that at one point in the taping last week, my voice and the picture got out of sync. And I also thought too that the video looked a little grainy, but maybe it's my computer. I don't know. But I thought maybe I'll just record it through my computer and then upload it to YouTube later. But after the request, I decided, okay, I will do this again. So I get to talk to you for a couple of 2 minutes. Music to the radio broadcast is playing. One of the reasons that I don't share the music on YouTube yet is because I don't have a permission. If through the YouTube I start to actually get a money stream, I'd have to get permission to use that song. And so I'm in the process of finding out what that would take, because I love that song. And I really like that to be the opening that everyone experiences, whether you can hear me or only, or if you can hear and see me. So just to give you all who are watching a little preview, I tonight am continuing with my emerging future of yourself theme, your emerging self, and treasures from 2018 to 2019 that we're going into 2019 with, which is clarity, confidence, and courage. So last week I talked clarity, and of course tonight I'm going to talk about confidence. And it's really, really a fun topic for me. I got some feedback from a couple of people that they really appreciated it. And it's fun for me because it feels so in alignment with where I'm at in my life right now, in my journey right now. So I love when it syncs up, where I'm sharing some wisdom that I'm walking through myself right now. So it kind of makes it pretty exciting. So my music is just about to go off, and when it does, I will start my formal official broadcast. So you'll hear me again, welcome you, and start over in just a second. So thank you so much too for hanging in there and appreciating this. And I'm very grateful to my dear friend Nancy for encouraging me to do this again, because every time, of course, I do both a broadcast through Blog Talk as well as a video through YouTube, I am definitely learning. And of course, that's what we're all here to do. That's what's most important. So thank you. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Walk here on Black Hole Radio and on my YouTube channel, Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. I am Jojopahmaria Nsoroma, and I will be your host and guide this evening. Happy New Year again to all of you. It's just wonderful to be starting up a new year. And January is the first of 3 water months, according to the wisdom that I keep from the Dagara tribe of Burkina Faso. And so it promises, 2019 does, to be a year of remembering and being on purpose, because it is a mineral year. Yay! So as we set off on this next new journey around the sun, around the calendar, clarity, confidence, and courage are going to be our best companions. I really, truly, deeply in my gut feel this. My theme for this month is your emerging future. And tonight I present the second of 4 broadcasts for January, and I'll be sharing wisdom and insights on clarity versus, confidence versus doubt tonight. So, for those of you who may be listening or watching for the first time, let me give you a brief overview of Wisdom Walk. It is a personal development resource for your mind, body, and soul. My ministry is any pain that is not transformed will be transferred. So, the goal of my shows is to help all of you out there listening and looking to learn how to recognize and release any pain that is blocking your fulfillment in life, or what I like to call having your happy endings in life. Every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 5 p.m. Pacific Time, where I'm at, I broadcast live unless I'm on hiatus or, we have a power outage and ain't no internet, ain't no nothing happening, right? But in addition to listening through your computer, if you're listening to the broadcast that way, or other gadgets that access the internet, you may listen to this live broadcast by calling this number, which is area code 563-999-3089. Again, that's 563-999-3089. And the web link for the broadcast in itself that you may get through my Facebook page, which is Wisdom Walk Radio, or through a constant contact email I send out. That link, of course, is an archive link. So after that broadcast is over, you can access it. And with the YouTube, of course, once I'm done with this live, it just goes up. It's in the cloud, and it will be posted and available to you on my YouTube channel of Wisdom Walk to Self-Mastery. So now I invite you, take a deep breath, let it all out, sit or lay back and join me for an exploration of your inner landscape, where we can connect to the soul and discover that true treasure of being human. And here's to you. Take a nice drink of water, so my throat isn't as dry as it was just feeling. Because every night when I start off in this program, I like to always start off with honoring the ancestors. That's really, really important to me. And I hope it becomes more important to everyone on the planet. We really need to understand that we're here because there were people who lived before us, and people who did things, saw things, understood things, didn't understand things, whatever. But all of that had great purpose and has contributed to our experiences of who we are and why we are. So it's so important to take a moment to honor those persons, because otherwise we are doomed to repeat things that they've already been through. And why would you want to go through that again? Last night, in fact, I finally had an opportunity to watch the movie Coco by Pixar, which is about a young boy, a Latino boy, who goes into the land of the ancestors during the Day of the Dead. And it was very well. There's another movie that was kind of similar to in terms of the story, but I did like their depiction of it. One thing they did in this one, they didn't do in the other one, and I apologize to the filmmakers that I can't remember the name of that movie. It was also animated. But one of the things they did in Coco that I thought was really powerful was they showed how unless the ancestor is honored, unless there is a picture of them on the ancestor altar, that ancestor can't come into this realm to help out. And when they go, if they stay in the ancestor realm without helping out, it's like they in poverty. It's like they've shown them living in the slums. And they also showed how this one man had not been honored for many, many years. And so finally, he was doing what they called a final death. And so he just really was moving out into the next realm, moving on. They didn't know where he would be going, but there was this like whole grief thing because, he was leaving the ancestral realm. And I just thought that was so great in what they were talking about, is to say, that everyone wants to be remembered. Everyone wants to, have a connection back to the souls who are here. So my teacher, Melodoma, said that the ancestors of people in Western culture were some of the most unemployed. So our ancestors is in them slums, y'all, because we haven't been calling on them enough. We haven't been honoring them enough. But that is turning around. It is really turning around, and we want them. We want them to be living well in the land of the ancestors, and also coming here to really give us their guidance and their love. So tonight I'm going to be focusing on confidence, and I'll be explaining to you how I define that. But I want to look at doubt, and the issue of doubt is very, very. It's a very important, because there are things that we doubt that, if we continue to doubt them, we will not get to our happy endings in life. And it's bad experiences that cause us to doubt. When we've had our heart broken, or we've been let down, or we've been discouraged or disappointed or betrayed, that will really feed our ability to roll into doubt. And so I want you tonight to think about, and what I want to honor is those ancestors who were role models for doubt, meaning these are the people that were always in doubt. These are the people who never believed the sun was going to shine for them. They never believed that they could get to their happy endings in life. They never believed the world was out to gift them. They always felt victimized by life. They always were complaining. They had a complaint. They were grumpy, what I'm talking about. So we want to honor them because, of course, once they get to the land of the ancestors, they have this 360-degree understanding of what they were there for, really, and, what they got to do, didn't do. But also, too, that some of them signed up to be these role models for doubt, so that we would see that, be around that person, experience that, and say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be that way. So take a moment, think about somebody who's hard to be around, who was now an ancestor, and who had doubt. This was not a person you went to get a message of hope or validation. This is somebody who you knew was going to tell you, oh, no, don't do that, child. Forget it. Ain't going to work out. It's crazy. It's foolish. Why would you want to be an artist? Why would you want to be a musician? You're not going to make any money. Just let that go. Forget it. Those kind of people. Or people who just, would get sick and just think that was the end, and, didn't want to learn how to take care of themselves. So we're honoring those people tonight because they really help us see what it looks like when we live in doubt, when we live in doubt of the truth of how the universe works. So take a moment to think of those persons, call their names, and I'm going to do a prayer and invocation out to them because we really need them working in our lives right now, because we need to not be in doubt if we are going to move forward in this age of illumination and get to those happy endings. So ancestors, we are calling out to you wholeheartedly. You ancestors who lived through doubt, who lived through fear, who were addicted to the belief that it was never going to work out, that you only had one option and that was it. Because you were such good role models to us, we have more of an ability to turn to hope. And so we're honoring you for giving us the experience of what it looks like, feels like, tastes like, sounds like, smells like when someone is living in doubt. So please come and be that guide to us at the times we're in, and when we're faced with these risky decisions that we have to make, where it would be easy to doubt our ability to be successful. We need you to show up, and we need you to whisper very loudly in our ear, it's going to be okay. Take the risk. You can do it. Be our cheerleaders, because you know the truth now. And so, Creator, I ask and thank you for these wonderful, wonderful ancestors, your great emissaries that you allow us to get access to. And I ask and thank you for the blessing of these ancestors and for them being our guides. In the name of all that is holy, I say amen. Ashe Aho Asai Shinga Bismillah. And so it is. Ashe. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Do we need some hope? So I'm putting my glasses back on because, as I said last week, when you see me looking down, I'm not nodding off. I am reading. I use my notes just to keep me centered and focused because it's very easy. It's very easy to go off on tangents and forget about the points that I really, really want to make. So I see on my chat somebody named G Shazam is giving me blessings. So G Shazam, thank you. I received those blessings wholeheartedly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me give you some of the elemental wisdom that we have coming up for this week. Remember, Tuesday begins the first day of the week according to my elemental calendar from the Daguerre. And that'll be on the 15th. And because it's a 5, we're going to have an Earth Week. And that'll last until next Monday, the 21st. So here's the opportunities for this Earth Week coming up. And it's all about receiving support. Isn't that wonderful? This is about you are worthy. Embrace the power of self-love and honor the energetics of the earth element as you open yourself to receive what you need to be fulfilled, nurtured, appreciated, and loved. Doesn't that sound just delicious? Be self-full. Be self-full. This is cosmic reciprocity for all that you have done to support others. You deserve it. Ask and you shall receive. Wonderful. I mean, this is a posture we need to be in most of the time. Most of the time. Now, here are some distractions, things that can keep you out of being in sync with this energy this week about receiving support. The fear of hearing no. Yeah, nobody likes to hear a no. Nobody likes to hear a no. So much so that we ain't gonna ask. Like I don't want to hear no. I don't want to be associated with no. I'm not asking. Like, bam, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. So you definitely want to get over that fear. You gotta let that go because guess what? You are going to hear a no in life, but know that that no will get you to a yes. I remember I had a sales call, and this person was just so trying to get me to, buy their product or sign up for something. I don't know what it was. And he was just working. I said, look, you're overworking it. You need to really get that I know my mind and I'm saying no to you. Okay. You shouldn't be experiencing any doubt. So listen, and you'll see there's no doubt in what I'm saying to you. Now, hang up from me because there's somebody out there who is in doubt or who just really wants to consider and has the ability to buy your product or whatever, go find them. I'm not it. Yeah. And, that's the thing. We, in this culture, we've been so conditioned to turn a no into a yes. Like when somebody says no, don't believe it. Like, no, they don't really know their mind. It's like, no, So when you get that no, or if you're afraid of that no, it's okay because you'll get no here, but you're going to get yes someplace else. So trust that. You deserve the support. The fear of being a burden, another huge one that I'm very familiar with. And, it's that shame, blame, guilt stuff that we get into. But the reality is, if there are times when you really, really need help, like for whatever, and maybe you could do it, maybe you could figure it out, but for some reason your brain's just shut down. You're like, I ain't nothing going on. I don't know what to do. I feel overwhelmed. It's okay to ask for help and to receive it because you're going to get a chance to pay it forward later on. There have been times when I've been so afraid and so shut down and I could have figured something out, but I just couldn't. And I got up my courage and I asked for help. It's usually financial stuff, right? And I asked for help and the person gave me more money than what I needed. And I was like, okay, when I get flush, I will make sure not only will I pay them back, but I'll pay it forward. Meaning when somebody asks me for help, I will definitely help them. And then last but not least, the fear of being judged as weak or as a failure. In other words, to be in a situation where you have to ask for help or receive help means that there's something wrong with you. Um, you know, as human beings, we're going to need help. And really all the time. We cannot live our lives all on our own. Now, there's a difference between taking responsibility for your life and for your situation. Okay. And that's important. And if there's something that I can do on my own, yes, of course I want to do it. But most of the time, everything we're doing is requiring somebody's help. If you just made a map of during the day of every person you encountered for the things that you need, your mind would be blown away. Because like if you go to a supermarket and you're going for yourself, and you get there by yourself and you have your money to pay, you feel independent. I feel good. I did it myself. But you're not thinking about all of the people involved in making that supermarket be there, be open, be stocked with food, and it goes back to the people working out in the fields, harvesting the food, or people who are freezing the food, or people who are packaging the foods in some food plant that you never get to see, people who are driving the truck to get the food to the supermarket. So in other words, there is always this huge, huge network of connectivity of people that we're connected to for the things that we get to do. So this is about remembering that there is nothing wrong with getting help or needing help, because we could not be here without the support, the commitment, and the trust of other humans in our lives. And I'll add animals to that too. The animals are amazing in what they do for human beings. Now, next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the following, it'll be the 22nd. Fire week, a double fire week. And of course, I'll tell you all about that in the next broadcast and video. Now, last week we had that really powerful eclipse in Capricorn that here in North America, South America, and this part of the globe, we were not able to see. You'd have to be in Northeast Asia or the North Pacific. And it happened during my broadcast because it was about 5:42 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know about you, but it was huge. It was huge. That energy was something else. I think one night I couldn't get to sleep until like 4 a.m. It was crazy. It was just absolutely crazy. But it was this really big energy. It felt like this really, really, really huge energy. And I shared last week that eclipses are like portals for exponential growth. It's where we're forced to change in a way that might be uncomfortable, but ultimately leads to a maturity. So, it was a week of things showing up for me, things, manifesting and good stuff, but it really was in a way I hadn't expected. And so it, kind of had me like, oh, okay, I'm growing here. It's like, I got up my game even more than I thought I was up in it, and it's just, it was just, it's an amazing energy. Yeah. I didn't think I would be as busy with my individual clients as I am being. I thought, maybe in February, after people come down from the holidays or whatever, but no, it was just jumping. And so, I'm sure you have had your experiences with that eclipse. Many people I talked to were going through some really deep healing processes, like things had been triggered, things had come up to really have them eliminate that energetic from their life and open up. So we really are being, very, very supported by the universe, by the planets, for this growth that we are doing right here at the beginning of the year, this expansion that we're doing. Now, there's another eclipse, like I told you last week, on the 21st, which is next Monday. And it's being called the Super Blood Wolf Moon. And it'll be blood red. That one we will be able to observe. So hopefully you're someplace where there will be some clear sky, because that moon is going to turn just blood red in the sky. And yes, it is a full moon. It's a full moon. So I will definitely have some more information, specific information about that for you next Sunday. But you can look it up too. You can also Google it and whatnot. But what I want you to pay attention to for this week is that since that other eclipse, a solar eclipse, up until this lunar eclipse, the veil is very thin. What do I mean by that for those of you who don't know New Age speak? What that means is that you are going to have a very heightened sensitivity to things that are beyond the physical. Okay. You will have and can have more metaphysical experiences, meaning you may be hearing some things or seeing some things. You may be getting some insights or some revelations showing up for you that seem like, where did that come from? Like, why am I thinking that? But it's something that you need, It's like, it's a time when our spiritual selves are more accessible. Let me say that. I don't know if you've ever been to a country where people really, in their culture, believe in spirituality and practice it. Like some places in Asia, most places in Asia, not say someplace, most places in Asia, in China, Japan, Korea, places in the United States, definitely in Africa. And if you go to these places, South America, like when I went to Brazil, oh my God, veil thin in Brazil. I think New Orleans is kind of like that too. New Orleans has an edge, different from a lot of cities, but it's just a place where people really believe in the metaphysics and the ancestors. And so it's a place where you feel like there's something more going on here, The reason we can appreciate when the veil is thin is because it's easier for your ancestors, your spirit guides, and your loving entities to get your attention. Okay, so that's the thing about hearing things and seeing things, or things showing up, books falling off of shelves, or you turn the corner and run into somebody you ain't seen in years, whatever. So expect that, pay attention to that, because when you get time for this lunar eclipse, it's going to be about more of our internal things that are going to be opened up, more internal things. So anyway, just be aware and know that, you're not making it up. It's real. It's really, really happening. The veil is very thin this week. So here we go. Let me give you an overview of what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm first going to do a review of your emerging self and the Age of Illumination, and also to go over some of the points that I made when I discussed clarity versus confusion. Then I'm going to dive into confidence versus doubt and take you through a different perspective on what I mean by confidence, and how we can work or practice, if you will, getting to our confidence in times of great doubt, or what I think is the more common word in our Western culture is anxiety. Anxiety is basically doubt. Okay, that's driving you crazy. It's doubt that drives you crazy. Yeah. And then I'll throw out a personal challenge to you, of course, so that you have something to some more stuff to focus on for the week. My opening quotes that I included with my announcement for the broadcast says, and this is from Rosabeth Moss Cantor. She happens to be a professor, noted professor at Harvard University in their business school. She's considered a business guru, and she's been around for a while. And Rosabeth says, confidence isn't optimism or pessimism, and it's not a character attribute. It's the experience of a positive outcome. I like that. I like that a lot. And then my second quote is Michelle Obama, who says, through my education, I didn't just develop skills. I didn't just develop the ability to learn, but I developed confidence. Confidence. Yeah. How wonderful. The expectation of a positive outcome and the experience of I learned and I developed skills. I know something, like wisdom, right? It's like wisdom. So last week, your emerging self in the Age of Illumination, why this is important. We have gone from a time in history when human beings were really just here to survive, just here to survive. And I think there was a time further back when that wasn't true. I think there was a time when we really knew this was the Garden of Eden and that we were here to partake in its beauty and create new things and, love on each other. I think there was a time. But then I think things happened as we, were here longer. And so we got into the survival thing where we believe that life is just about survival, and we create as a collective these very dire experiences that, really are about you gotta figure out how to survive, And so we've been working for many centuries to figure out how to make getting our basic needs taken care of not as difficult as they were. And so we now live in a time when there is more convenience, where there is more comfort, if you will, in our day-to-day lives to get our basic needs met. For example, Amazon has created has turned Whole Foods into a grab and go place, of better quality food. So you can go in there and stuff's all packaged, it's all pretty, and you just grab it, pay, go. And they even set up a way to pay where you don't even have to use money. All you got to tap something and you just got it, you go, and you get fed. We're just, 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago, preparing a meal. Are you kidding? This was like weeks, and storing food, you have to figure that out. But churning butter, people just have to churn butter. There weren't refrigerators. So how did you keep things cold? It was all of that. It was like a lot of work. And now it's, we didn't think about that. Ironing clothes used to be what you had to do if you didn't want to look like, where people want to talk about you, you want to have that good starch in your collar, and that all took time to do that. Right. And now, thanks to plastics, ain't nobody ironing nothing, or at least not a lot of people do. You just comes out of the wash, it comes out of dry and you throw it on and you go, wash and go, So I'm making that point to say that because we are now in a situation, and again, I'm talking mostly about people in the West or countries who are aspiring to live the lifestyle of the West. We are now more able to really begin to think about, why are we here? Because since you can grab and go and wash and go, you're thinking less about survival. And so what are we thinking about? What do we need to think about? And I think what we need to think about is our emerging self. What is it that we as human beings really need to be doing with each other? How should we be treating each other? How should we be treating children? How should we be treating people who are at a disadvantage because of either a physical or a mental, or even a social, circumstance? How do we get to this understanding that we're all in this together, and that the things that we have designated to separate us can be the very things that bring us together? How do we not lock children up in cages? How do we not think that building a wall at a border between two countries is going to solve the issue of drug use? Please tell me how we really think that that's what it is. So we're at a time now where we've got to let go of these old paradigms and old ways of thinking about who we are as humans and why we're here. And so, to me, that emerging self, there's 3 areas that I think it's really important that we're focusing on. There are more, but to me, these are the top 3. And the first one is self-mastery versus victimhood. That we really have to get that we can master ourselves, that we can be in charge of what we think, feel, believe, what we do, how we do, that we really can master that. That we do not have to be a victim to somebody else's circumstance or somebody else's beliefs for us. That we can be in our uniqueness, know that we're here on purpose, and do what it is that we need to do. The second one is choosing love over fear. Essential. And learning what that really means, learning what love really is. What does it mean to love myself? What does it mean to love my neighbor? Because I'm not talking about codependency here. What does that really mean? And how does fear show up for me in my life? Building a wall, putting kids in cages, that's pretty fear-based to me. So what's the love response to a social situation, to a crisis? And how do we have an expectation that we can and will take the high road, respond to things from a love center versus a fear center? And then the last but not least piece is about knowing and living higher purpose, not higher education, higher purpose. So in other words, right now we've designed a society that engineers how the economy will stay moving. How's that been working, right? How has that really been working? Isn't it better to believe that everyone is born with a gift, with a talent for something, a facility for something that really will work for them, that they can enjoy? And how do we set up a school system? How do we set up a community system to support people to be on purpose, to live their purpose, and not spend 40 years of their lives making money at something they can do, but which doesn't really feed their soul. And they're missing out on doing what it is that they really, really want to do. How do we turn that around so that people know and live on purpose? So that's what the Age of Illumination is about. It's like, okay, let's go to this next level now. Let's stop being victims. Let's stop thinking that choosing fear is going to keep us safe. And definitely, let's stop not living on purpose. Let's start to live on purpose. So when I talked about clarity versus confusion as, part of this emerging self, is an aspect that we need in this Age of Illumination. I talked about that history of confusion, that it wasn't a choice, but it was part of one's personality or one's destiny. And that, like, women, poor people, children, those not in the dominant class, were expected to be confused and led by those who weren't. So confusion as relinquishing your power. Confusion as saying no to self-mastery. Confusion as saying yes to codependency and victimhood is why we need to understand it today as a choice. It really is a choice. And I talked about how you can Google anything. You don't know something, Google it. Google it, And if Google doesn't give you enough of an answer, do it the old school way. Go to the library. Go to the library, go to the reference section, talk to a librarian. But we can get access to information now in a way that we never could before. So we don't need to stay confused. And I talked about how clarity serves us and what we need to be clear about. I said clarity supports confidence and courage, and it enables us to be independent and interdependent versus codependent. It's how we can be a good team player. It's how we can be a good citizen, a good neighbor, how we can take responsibility for our happy endings in life and not think that somebody can keep us from that. I talked about how we need to be clear about how we love ourselves and how we don't love ourselves. Like being really clear about that so that you're not making somebody else responsible for fixing what only you can fix. Because if you don't love yourself and you get into a relation with somebody who's saying they love you, you're just not going to hear it. And you're not going to really be able to participate at the same level in the relationship that the person who's able to say, and that I love you and really does, is able to do. I also talked about we need clarity because we really need to be clear and accepting of how the universe works, which is from the inside out. And I gave the whole theory about the black hole and what the black holes do and how they bring things down to a singularity and then explode out in a supernova. All of these wonderful basic elements for life. That's how creativity starts. So it's an inside out job. And so because we create from the inside out, basically the parallel I was giving is that if we want to see our lives become happy, joyous, successful, full of more loving moments rather than the crazy, the trauma, drama, the rama, gamma, all that mess going on, we have to start from the inside. We have to really get that if we're not clear about our purpose, if we're not clear about how we may be holding ourselves as a victim, then nothing can change. Nothing can change. We'll just get more of what we had gotten before. My personal challenge was for you to make a list of everything you're clear about in your life right now, then make a list of everything you're confused about in your life right now, and to choose one thing on the confusion list that you want to be clear about and set this intention. Creator, I thank you. I ask and thank you for enabling me to receive the clarity about you fill in the dots. So now, having done clarity versus confusion, let's talk about confidence versus doubt. See, confidence, the etymology of it, the origins of that word, which goes back to Latin and Old English, it literally means with faith, with faith. As in that opening quote, it's that expectation of something, and usually a good outcome. But as I thought about this a little more, I thought, faith is really something we have as humans. It's not about let me get some faith. No, faith is always there for you. I think the real issue is what are you having faith in? Because if you are being confident through fear, you're going to be in doubt. And here's what I mean by that. Confidence through love is hope, but confidence through doubt, through fear is doubt. That's when you're doubt. That's when you're in that anxiety. Because what are you being confident about? You're being confident about things ain't going to work out. It's not going to happen. I can't have it. I don't deserve it. It'll never happen, And that's all that talk from your pain body and trauma mind, that part of that wounded part of you, that little child that never got nourished, that little child that may have been experienced a huge disappointment in life that stamped them. That's what that talk is. And there is a confidence in that. There is a faith in the fact that things will never work out. So when I'm talking about confidence, I want to separate out the love from the fear. Um, and that your faith is in the hope and the love versus the faith and the doubt. Now, I want you to think about, why is it that we can experience 10 good things in a week? 10 good things can happen to us, like, really, really good things. Like you win the lotto, you get some money, you, in your relationship, either you meet somebody who's wonderful, or in the relationship, something happens that moves it to a next level. You find the right car, you find the right dress, all your material stuff is working out. Your emotional stuff is really doing good. It's all wonderful. It's so great. And then after these 10 great things happen, one bad, negative, fear-based thing show up. And all those those positive things just go out the window, and you are left in a state of fear, negativity, and doubt. Why is that? And who hasn't had that happen? Who hasn't had that happen? Who hasn't been on that ride where you're on the wave? It's good. Everything's good. Everything's good. And then all of a sudden, one thing shows up, and it's like, oh my God, I'm a mess. It's a mess. It's, because this is a human behavior. We all do this. We all do this. So I'm just asking us to think about why. Why is that? Wait a minute. I got 10 good, not one good thing, not a half good thing. I got 10 good things that just happened to me. Why is this one bad thing showing up and just eliminating all that good stuff? What happens? Okay. The answer to this has to do with understanding vibrational energy of an experience. Now, we are really vibrational creatures, okay? We come from this vibratory creation, and that's what atoms and neutrons and bosons and protons and all that stuff that Einstein and the quantum physicists talk about. When they look through their special microscopes and do their little tests, they can see that, like, oh, okay, there's this stuff going on, that this, what we call matter, isn't real. It's really made up of these vibrations. String theory is part of that. It's all this good stuff. So it's a vibrational thing. And here's another way, and I'm going to give you proof of that. Think about this. Think about your experience of 1 minute of fear and pain as opposed to 1 minute of joy and happiness. Which is longer? I can remember I've had some cramps when I was menstruating as a young woman. I had really bad cramps, like really bad. I'd be on the floor rolling around. And I can't tell you that just 1 minute of that pain seemed like it was going on forever. But when I was having a happy time, I was having a good time, I'd look up at the clock and I'd be like, oh my God, 5 hours passed. How did that happen? It went so fast. No, bring it back. Like things just go so fast when we're happy. And that is because of the vibration. So negative things, painful things, fear-based things vibrate at a lower frequency, okay? At a lower frequency. Happy things, good things, love, pure love vibrates at a very high level, very high level. We are in physical bodies. So the denser the experience, the more it can stick with us, okay? The more it can go into our cells and be in our memories and be the thing that just takes over. That's what I call the pain body. Whereas the happy things seem fleeting. They just fly around us and they fly away and they go. And, so much so that even when we try to recall them, we kind of feel like oh, did that really happen? I can tell you how many times I've asked myself over some wonderful things that happened. I mean, there's songs about this, right? Did that really happen? Was I really there? Did the moon really look that way? We question and doubt the joy, the happy times. But the negativity, we'd be like, oh yeah, oh no, I'm clear. I am so clear, that I felt that happened to me. So this is important because it's important to know, this is the good news, the very good news, that the high vibrational energy can free you from the slower, denser negativity and fear vibration. That's why love is the most powerful force in the universe. It is such a high energy, so pure, so high. And that dense energy, it just goes, that's why when we die, our bodies actually decompose. They decompose, they go back to nothingness, right? Because that's what they came out of. So that dense vibration really is temporal. It doesn't really last. But we forget that because we're in these human bodies, And so it's so important. That's why it's so important. If you're going to live a life in confidence, if you're going to really not manage, but eliminate anxiety running your life, that you really get into developing mental muscles for connecting with your soul and your higher self. And this is no different than going to the gym and building a muscle in your arms or your legs or whatever. I mean, it takes work and it takes time. Because again, that dense energy is very easy for us to attach to. The higher energy it's just so fleeting. So you have to really train yourself like you would for any kind of physical athletic exercise. Just to train yourself to connect to your soul and go up, go into that higher energy. You really have to train yourself. This is why comedians are so valuable in our culture. Comedians are so valuable because they bring in a way for that humor to come in, and it shifts things around, but it takes us up, because when you're laughing, when you go into laughter, you're getting into a higher vibration. When you smile, you're getting into a higher vibration. Yeah. And so that's why back in England, the king would have a fool, a man dressed up with a little hat with the bells on, and he was crazy, sometimes had a hump on his back or whatever, something they could laugh at, and he'd have a little mini me of himself on a stick, but his job was to do that, to really break up when it was getting too dense and too heavy, and to raise up the vibration. Mental illness is real. It's very real. And so that is where there's a barrier for someone to access those higher vibrations. And so the negative then is more able to take over. The pharmaceuticals are in mental health are supposed to be designed to do is to help give that person more access to getting to the higher vibration. But sometimes it just goes too far and it deadens them, and then they're just in like a zone. But just to know that yes, there are some people who, it's not going to be just intellectual exercise to begin to figure out how to train your mind and do that. But I believe that even people with a mental health challenge can take on learning how to get connected to the soul, how to get back to really raising that vibration. It's just a different kind of journey and takes some different kind of help. But for those of us who don't have that challenge, we really can take it on. We really can take on saying, how can I really get out of the doubt This doubt, which is my confidence in the fact that it's not going to work out for me. I'm not going to have the love of my life. I'm not going to have the job I really want. I'm not going to work in the way I really want. I'll never have the house of my dreams. I'll never take that trip to Bali and sleep in that grass hut over that beautiful water. I'll never be able to buy my children the kind of clothes that I think they really should have. I'll never be able to figure out how to really be satisfied with who I am. Whatever the doubt is, whatever the anxiety is, you do not have to stay in it. You can shift into confidence that you can have a positive outcome for whatever it is that you are pursuing, whatever it is you're dreaming, whatever it is your higher purpose is calling you to. You can get to that, but you've got to raise your vibration. You got to raise your vibration. Now, raising your vibration, connecting to your soul. I mean, if you're sitting here and sitting out there watching me, listening to me, you are right now raising your vibration. If my vibration is really raised, I'm going to tell you, when I'm doing this, it's up there. It's really, really raised. So, doing that, listening to somebody, engaging with somebody who is at a higher vibration, is how you raise yourself up. When you're around negative people who are feeling sorry for themselves, they're in that victim mode, that's not going to raise your vibration. So you have to make some choices. You got to make some choices. Also, if you spend time with yourself, meditating, contemplating, doing your ritual, doing something to raise that vibration. Sometimes it's singing. Singing will raise your vibration. Watching a movie, especially a journey movie. Every time I watch Lord of the Rings, or Doctor Strange, it just raises my vibration. I just love that. I love to see people go through a transformation and come out at the end stronger, clearer, more confident, more courageous than they were when they started. That always raises my vibration. And that's what good books are for, all of the wonderful, wonderful tools that we have on this planet, from culture things, looking at a beautiful painting, looking at anything beautiful. Oh, and please let me not forget going out into nature, taking a walk in nature, connecting to the water, going to the ocean, going to a lake, the birds, the animals, connecting with animals will raise your vibration. So here's my personal challenge for you for this week. I want you to, and it's got 3 steps to it. I would like for you to make a vow with yourself, not a promise, not even a commitment. I want you to really go up there. This is a vow to yourself this week that every time you experience a negative person or situation, that you will access your higher vibration by connecting to your soul. So that means you got to figure out how you're going to connect to your soul very quickly. And if you don't know how to do that, Google it. Because like I said, we don't need to be confused about anything anymore. No, Google it. Or send me a message, through my Facebook page, Wisdom Walk Radio, or on my YouTube channel. I'll give you some ideas for how to do that quickly. Also, ask yourself, how does it serve me to stay in this situation? How does it serve me to stay in this negative situation? And what do I need to do to shift out of it? So back to, how am I going to get to that high vibration? Vow to yourself that you will get out of it. Call up the confidence, the hope that you will. And the 3rd step is to say a prayer. And it's a prayer of gratitude to your creator for taking you to your higher vibration. And it'd be something like, Creator, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, thank you for taking me to my higher vibration. And so it is. Again, that's the faith. That's the faith piece. That's the expectation that you're going to have a right outcome. But we have to consciously do this, folks. We have to consciously say no to negativity, to fear, to anxiety. You have to say no to it. You do not have to hold on to it, let it be your constant companion. No. And if you are doing any of these things or have tried other things and you still have that anxiety, then yes, you do need to get some additional support, some professional support, maybe some pharmaceutical support, whatever. But don't be okay with it. Don't think that that's just who you are. And, if you have to get more professional support for dealing with your anxiety, know that you can work. And in fact, that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be working to reduce that so that you're not on a pharmaceutical and you're not having to, constantly be in some kind of therapy, that you can do your self-help, that you can work with other people who are friends to maintain your high vibration. Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Wow. This is something else. This is really, really something else. Confidence, right? Never thought of that there could be a fear based to confidence, but it can, because we get caught up in that, especially in this culture, a lot. We have more confidence that things aren't going to work out than we do that things are. I was reading something about people projecting what the world is going to be like 20 years from now. And, it was, all of this kind of pseudo science fiction stuff about, what's going to be happening with human beings and this and that. And I thought, wow, they must be really, reading the newspapers and listening to the news way too much. Because, I believe that as human beings, we are here to improve, we are here to grow, we are here to evolve, and that things are better. That's why I think history, knowing your history, is so important. You need to know what it was like 100 years ago. You need to know what it was like 500 years ago. And you need to understand not just from a physical development, but from an emotional development. Like, we're not throwing people in a ring and watching a lion, destroy them for sport anymore, at least, and it's not legal. I don't know, some people are doing that around the planet, but I hope not. But still, you know what I mean? We're not going to the Coliseum like we were to see, people get fed to the lions. So things have shifted. And things are shifting. So we need to have a confidence that the planet is not going to, dry up so that we have to get into spaceships and go to Mars. We need to have hope that you're going to figure out how to get rid of fossil fuels from creating, the warming up that it's doing. And we're going to figure out alternate ways to transport ourselves, and that we're going to clean up our waters and get rid of the plastic, and that we're going to love each other as human beings. So we're going to be, feeling like no people are disposable, and that we don't want to be treated that way. So why would we treat somebody else that way? Let's love on people. Let's help people become the best version of themselves. And what is it that I as an individual can do to contribute to that? Well, the first thing is to become the best version of myself. And again, have confidence through love. See, I'm on a roll. I can't stop, but I am going to stop because my hour is up and I've gone over a little bit. But I do want to close out, first of all, with a gratitude expression to my wonderful engineer, Miss Yvette Parker of the Black Hole Be Well Radio family, and to all of the members of that organization. Thank you for your of me and my work, for opening up to me doing YouTube and getting excited about the fact that maybe this is something that can really enhance the work that we're doing. I'm so grateful for that. I also want to shout out to all my regular listeners out there, especially Miss Sarah, who is one of the wisest elders you could ever want to meet. I asked her the other day, I said, Miss Sarah, what would you tell somebody turning 60 years old? And Miss Sarah said, it gets better and better. And she said, the best is yet to come. And, again, there's a confidence, right? There's a confidence in me, and you know who you are. To my family, my spiritual kin, especially to my niece, Rachel, this most brave and courageous young woman who lost her son to suicide, but who is not being victimized by the experience, who is actually opening up to a learning of what is the treasure in the reality that I am now living, and how do I, transform myself to become something more that my son would be proud of. She is amazing. I just want to take a shout out to Rachel and to the transformational leadership colleagues that I have, to my medicine brothers and sisters around the world, and all those listening in and those listening in for the first time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't do this without your support. Next week, we will begin to continue with this talk through clarity, confidence, and courage. And we will talk about courage. And yes, I am a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz. So I will be talking about the Cowardly Lion. There's just no way I can talk about the Cowardly Lion and I'm going to be talking about courage. So again, please check out my Facebook page, Wisdom Walk Radio. Check out Black Hole Radio's Facebook page. Also, my YouTube channel is Wisdom Walk to Self Mastery. Check it out. And last but not least, I want to thank, with my glasses off because I don't have to read this, my God, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my loving entities, everything that walks with me, keeps my head to the sky, my feet to the ground, and my heart open to do this work with and for all of you. Listeners and watchers, have a wonderful Earth Week. Allow yourself to receive that support in loving confidence. And remember, most importantly, you are not disposable. You are divine. Good night now.